You know, one of my favorite names of God is early on in this book of Genesis, and it happens through a woman named Hagar. Hagar is brought in as sort of a plan B. And we kind of have this family of God, Abraham and Sarah, and they're like tracking on this like promise that God had for this son, the son of promise, the son of blessing. But it's not happening. And they're like, this isn't working. So kind of out of a human desperation, Sarah finds Hagar as a handmaid and kind of is like, this is plan B. This is the option because Hagar can have a son. And so it kind of creates this like distorted family idea. And in the middle of it, Sarah gets ticked off and starts treating Hagar terribly. And Hagar gets driven out of the community and she's kind of really given up on life. And she feels completely invisible. I mean, she's kind of the part of the story that doesn't belong and doesn't make any sense. And right when she's in that kind of despairing spot, Genesis chapter 21, God shows up and God says to her, "What are you doing out here?" And Hagar says like, "Hello, like my life is mess. Like I don't belong. Like I don't belong in this story." And kind of as you're reading this story, you kind of agree with her. You're like, yeah, kind of. You don't belong in this kind of story. And God says to her, "No, Hagar, I see you. And you matter to me. And I actually have a plan for your life too. And I actually know that you're pregnant with a son and you're going to bear a son. And I actually have a plan for him too." And there's this like, Hagar's like, what? I mean, she is invisible. She is forgotten. She is like the people of God's plan B. And even that person is sitting, you know, ready for death, really feeling like she's just given in to the inevitability of her own life circumstances. God interrupts with a word that says, "I see you and you matter to me. And actually, I have a plan for your life." And how many of us feel that way? How many people in the world think like it's too messy and it's too hard and they're left sort of abandoned and stuck and invisible and feel forgotten and useless? I mean, some people, even at the hands of good Christian people, have been discarded for whatever reason, find themselves alone and seemingly invisible and forgotten. And God comes to that person on that side of the story, seemingly on the margins, in the wilderness, alone, forgotten, and says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then God says to Hagar, you know, "Get up and go back to the camp. And I want you to tell them that I've got this, I've sent you." So Hagar goes back, you know, this like plan B, this discarded woman goes back to the camp, knocks on the door. The camp's like, "What do you want?" She's like, "I've seen God," which is what everybody wants. And they say to her, tell us, what is he like?" And this is what she says: "I have seen the God who sees me." If you feel invisible, forgotten, discarded, not part of plan A, I got good news for you. God sees you, knows you, calls you, has a future plan for you. Let's find it.